If you only take action when you feel motivated, you'll never do anything great. You want the harsh truth? Motivation and feelings, they are unreliable and they lie to you. They're inconsistent, fleeting, and they disappear when you need them most. Hi, I'm Jason Ellinger from Taika Translations. And today I'm going to show you how to stop relying on motivation and start building systems in your life that guarantee results, no matter what day it is and no matter how you feel. Before we begin, hit subscribe because here I share strategies on how to grow yourself personally and as a leader without waiting on motivation. Now let's get straight to it. So step number one, you have to shift your mindset. If you're going to do anything great, you're going to have to think a little bit differently. And that is shifting your mindset to thinking about discipline over motivation. Motivation comes and it goes, but discipline keeps you moving even when you don't feel like it. You have to stop asking yourself, do I feel like doing this? Or letting that thought, that premonition be in your mind. Do I even want to feel like doing this? You have to get past that level of thinking and start asking yourself the question, is this important enough for me to sacrifice my current state of being? Because so many things in our life, if they're anything of importance, you're going to have to go outside of your current state. And your brain has been hardwired to keep you in a certain condition, a certain state of being, because it knows the known is safe. And when your brain and your psychology can keep you in that safe zone, the boat is not being rocked. It's not dangerous. This current environment, at least it's safer than the thing that I don't know. That function that your brain has is keeping you in this condition. But you have to decide discipline over motivation, because it's going to require a change in your current reality. And when you do that, your brain sends all kind of thoughts into your head. Maybe it won't work. Maybe no one will ever buy that. Maybe nobody needs that. What if you get up and you completely flop? What if you fail? What if you start another diet regime and it doesn't work? What if you start another exercise regime and you just give up? But if you want to do anything of scale and greatness, you're going to have to break through that. And the way we break through that is with discipline. So start asking that key question. Is it important? Is this thing that I desire important enough for me that I'm willing to change my current state? And if it is, you're in business. Every successful person that you admire did not wait for motivation. They built habits, they created habits in their life that made success inevitable. And that's you. Everybody can do that, but you have to decide discipline over motivation. So you start with that today. Action step number one is this. Set a rule in your life that when it is time to take action and work, you work. There's no negotiations in your mind. If you got home from work and you put it on your calendar that you're going to start your new side business or your hobby, or you're going to work on getting out of debt by doing Uber Eats and making some side hustle money so that you can add it to your budget so you can build up that first emergency fund or whatever step you are in the process, then you get home, you change your clothes, you don't even think. Don't think, just do. The second item has to do with the first item, and that is build systems, not hype. Motivation and hype, it fades away. Good systems keep you on track day after day after day. You must schedule your tasks like an appointment during the day. It has to be a daily routine thing that you're going out to do, and if it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist. You do what's there and you keep track of it. And you just follow through. Create a daily non-negotiable habit, even if it just takes 10 minutes. If you lift weights for 10 minutes every day, odds are you're actually going to start lifting for longer. Or if you go buy yourself some dumbbells and you just use them for 10 minutes a day, in about 30 days, you're going to see some real results. And that's 10 minutes a day. Everybody wastes 10 minutes a day on some social media platform or YouTube or wherever. So take that 10 minutes and exchange it for something that's more valuable. Do the exercise you want to do. Take a 10-minute walk. Maybe practice mindfulness for 10 minutes. Those things create more peace and more strength in your life and give you a much better reality that you wanted anyways. So you have to make the decision to build a system, not hype, and then just do it religiously. The third item in this section around building systems and not hype is removing decision fatigue. And this is vital. So many people out there aren't aware of this, or maybe they just don't pay attention to this. Maybe I think people might be aware of this, but they don't they're not intentional enough about it to make the change necessary in their life. And so they suffer from the consequences of it. And this is what it is: remove decision fatigue. So every day you have, think of it this way: you have a full bucket. Think of a nice big bucket, and you have a full bucket of willpower at the beginning of the day. And by the end of the day, that entire bucket is depleted. And so the less decisions that you have to make that day, the more willpower you have to be able to accomplish the things that are important. And so if you have pre-decided on other days prior to this, and now you have pre-decided and initiated a very important practice that brings a result that matters to you, and it's pre-decided and now it's on your calendar and you're just supposed to do it. All that's left is actually doing it, not deciding anymore. You don't have to use the willpower to overcome that barrier in your mind and in your body to actually go out and start doing something. You just do it. And when you remove that extra step in the process of deciding, you remove that yet one more barrier in the journey towards being successful in something. So pre-decide, don't take another dip out of the willpower bucket, and leave that willpower available to you for later decisions that you have to make that might be going against the thing that you know that you should be that you need to do. So action step number 2 in building systems, not hype, is to choose one decision, one action, one activity that you're going to do daily, no matter what, and put it on your calendar and do your first repetition today. Step number 3 is to use the 5-minute rule. If you start something and you do it for just 5 minutes, at least you started. Because oftentimes the very hardest part is just starting. And once you get over the start, your brain starts to engage, and your body is built to look into the future of what you're currently doing and what you want, and start kind of creating a path forwards. And when you just start, your brain and your body will engage in ways that you never realized, and it will help you to move forwards towards that reality that you're after. When you haven't started, it wants to keep you safe and in that current homeostasis, that current condition, that current state of being, because it knows this current state of being and it's safe. But when you start and you tell your body and your mind, look, I want to move in this direction and I'm starting, and you start acting, it engages all kinds of neurons and creates new pathways in your brain so that you can look forwards and say, okay, actually this element I can bring in and utilize. Actually, this is something that would help me make that a reality become more clear and happen faster in my life. And oh, these things I can do. And before you know it, you've spent 30 minutes on the thing that you thought you could only start and do for 5 minutes. And your body and your brain and all the resources you have available to you started to become a little bit more clear. So use the 5-minute rule and just start today. Do it for 5 minutes, and your creativity and your body will help you move forwards, taking care of the rest. That's called momentum. And once it kicks in, you'll likely continue doing this, because now you're having some reinforced clarity, reinforcement that, oh, I actually can do this. And moving to this state of being is not so scary, and it's not such a drastic, life-threatening situation. And your brain starts to problem solve, and you move into the stage of problem solving, and that starts to help you to achieve higher levels of success in the area that matters to you. That's why just starting is one of the powerful elements that takes you from your current condition to actually making progress that you can see and feel the momentum from. Pick one task that you have been procrastinating on, not doing it because just whatever reason, and start it right now. Start it today. Even if you have to pause the video, start it, and then come back. Do it for 5 minutes and watch and find out that you actually end up doing it for longer. Step number 4 in creating the strategy that works for you is this: control your environment. You don't need more motivation. You need fewer excuses. If your phone is a distraction, put it in another room. Look, I'm wearing these earpods because it removes other sounds that are happening in my house and helps me focus on what I'm doing. That's me removing, actually in the video, in the moment, removing distractions. If you struggle to go to the gym, if you have to, sleep in your workout clothes. And always remember, you don't have to go to the gym to work out. Push-ups, all you need is a floor. To go for a walk, all you need is a road. And if your environment where you live is not safe, go to the nearby mall. You don't have to pay to walk up and down the aisles. Just commit to yourself that you're not going to go on a buying spree. But in any case, walk up and down the mall. I used to work with a company that worked inside malls, and every single morning there was a group of senior citizens that would go and walk around the mall. And I asked them one time, "How far do you guys actually walk when you're doing your exercise?" And he's like, "Oh, we go for like 10 kilometers." I was like, "What? 10 kilometers?" Because they would come and they would walk the mall every morning, the whole mall, like 4 or 5 times, and they would get their workout in. And I was amazed. So if you have to go to a nearby mall, it's free. Walk up and down the aisles and just commit to not buying anything while you're there and just stopping and hanging out. Just walk. But my point is, remove the barriers that make it impossible for you to do the thing you need to do. When I started exercising, I went for 30 minutes. That's it. That's all I could stand. And now I go running for more than an hour and 40 minutes each time I go. And it all started with just getting after the activity I wanted to, that moved me towards the reality I was after. Remove one thing from your environment today that's distracting you from being able to take action. Remove that one thing right now so that you can take the next step. All right, 5. And this is very important. Step number 5 in the process of getting from motivation to discipline and actually taking action in your life and moving from a current state of being to a less comfortable state of being, and that actually produces good results, is this: track progress, not feelings. You have to track your progress, not just let your feelings take over. Success is not about how you feel. It's the evidence created from what you do. And if you don't like the evidence that you're creating from what you currently do, then you're going to have to change what you do so that the evidence shows you're moving in the direction that you actually want to go. So what you're going to do in this section is you're going to keep a habit tracker. Seeing progress makes you want to keep going. That's why when Dave Ramsey talks about his baby steps, he says, put your payments from smallest to largest and focus all your energy on the smallest. Because once you start to get those small wins in your mind and in your psyche, it's reinforced that, hey, actually I'm making progress. And when your mind and your heart and they align saying, oh, I can make progress in this area of my life. I can feel success even as I start on the smallest areas and work my way up. That's why so many millions have gotten out of debt, paid off their homes, because they started with the very first step of just paying off the smallest, a $150 credit card payment, and then moving to the next one that was a $300 credit card payment, and then the next one that was a $700, and then the next one that was a $5,000 one. And because they started with the small integral steps and they felt the progress, and their brain and their heart and their behaviors engaged in that direction, because now they have momentum, they're able to do incredible things. And you're no different. We're all made the very same way. So you have to measure your effort and your results, not just your efforts or your results. Even if the results are not immediate, consistency in the right direction compounds and turns into unstoppable momentum over time. And I want to highlight this point. You have to stop waiting till you feel ready, because reinforcement comes from the act of doing. Remember the baby steps, the smallest to largest. You started with the smallest and you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. You should kind of start with the one that has the highest interest rate. Well, if we were all thinking when we got into debt, we wouldn't be in debt in the first place. So we wouldn't have all these different interest rates to pay on. So let's just throw that out of the equation. Now you start with the small one and you have to get that reinforcement. But starting is the key. That's why one of the points is to starting with 5 minutes, because you have to just start. And then your body and your brain takes over and helps you move forwards. And once you see those key wins, it reinforces to your mind, to your heart, to your body that you're moving in the right direction, and you start to get momentum. And once you start getting momentum, then it's about measuring the efforts and the results and making sure that you're staying on course, heading in the right direction. So the action step in this section, which is to track your progress, is to start tracking one key habit and result today that moves you forward in an area that really matters to you. And track that for the next 7 days. You will be amazed at the results that you achieve. So, my final challenge to you today is to take action right now. And if this video helped you in any way, please share it with somebody who you know needs it. And hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next strategy. Now, tell me which one of these you struggle with the most, and let's talk about them in the comments below.